Last weekend, I sat at my desk, opened a retirement calculator, and typed in my numbers: current income, living expenses, inflation, the exact age I wanted to stop working. I hit calculate, and the screen stared back at me with a massive, glaring red number, the absolute minimum I needed just to survive my old age. In that moment, I felt completely suffocated. The scary part was not my current income. The terrifying part was the realization that I was spending my entire life racing against the clock, desperately trying to hoard a mountain of cash just to buy the right to do absolutely nothing in my final years. The fear of running out of money in the future was quietly swallowing up all the joy of living right now. Haunted by that red number, I started looking for a way out. I looked at Japan. It is a country with one of the oldest populations on Earth. Logically, I assumed they would be facing a massive financial crisis, crushed by the weight of their own aging citizens. But as I dug deeper into their social structure, I found something that completely shattered my assumptions. Many older people in Japan do not see themselves as a financial burden. Instead, they hold the majority of the nation's private wealth. They continue to actively participate in the workforce and drive a vibrant silver economy. And the most surprising part is that their motivation is not born out of financial desperation. It is driven by a profound cultural philosophy, one that fundamentally rewrites the rules of money and aging. In modern Western culture, we treat work as a punishment and retirement as the ultimate reward. We worship the idea of financial independence and retiring early. The goal is to hustle to the breaking point, make money as fast as possible, and escape the rat race by the time we hit 40 or 50, so we can lie on a beach. In this mindset, old age is strictly viewed as a period of decline. It is a time of draining your hard-earned assets and anxiously waiting for Social Security checks. But traditional Japanese philosophy does not draw such a brutal line between labor and leisure. They do not view getting older as the sudden end of your economic value. Instead, human contribution is seen as a continuous, lifelong river. Older generations are not pushed to the margins of society to quietly count out their meager pension payments. They transform into the most conscious, powerful consumer base, and they remain an active workforce carrying decades of irreplaceable experience. Let me be clear, we are not talking about working yourself to the bone until your very last breath. What we are talking about is fundamentally redefining your own value and the value of your wealth as time moves forward. In this video, we are going to break down 3 core principles that allow older generations in Japan to become an economic powerhouse rather than a societal burden. Through their perspective, you will spot the critical flaws in how we currently plan for our own golden years. More importantly, you will learn how to finally break free from the crushing fear of retirement. Principle 1. Ikigai and why. Early retirement can be a trap. The first concept is Ikigai, a reason to wake up every morning. The problem with many young people today is not laziness. The problem is that they hate their current job so much that they just want to use money to buy an escape hatch called retirement. But when they finally unlock that door, many fall into an empty void. They face depression and a total loss of purpose. In Japan, a massive percentage of older adults choose to keep working well past the age of 65. It might be a part-time shift, consulting, or running a small local diner. Imagine a man named Tanaka. He retired from a massive corporation, but instead of sitting at home watching his savings slowly bleed out, he took a job advising a local business for a fraction of his old salary. He is not working to survive. He works to keep his mind sharp. He works for human connection. And he works to keep his cash flow moving, no matter how small. This tiny shift in mindset completely rewrites your financial reality. You do not need to hoard $2 million just to survive 30 years of zero income. You only need a safe financial foundation and an ikigai to keep creating value. The true power of Ikigai is not about forcing you into endless hard labor. Its power lies in destroying the massive pressure to fund a 3-decade-long vacation. But if you think the economic engine of older generations in Japan is built entirely on their choice to keep working, you are only looking at the tip of the iceberg. The reality is that the true power shaping the economy does not belong to young people desperately swiping their credit cards. It belongs to those who have mastered the art of quiet time. And it belongs to those who command wealth that has been built with relentless patience. Principle 2: Chokin and the power of quiet spending. In the West, brands almost exclusively target the youth. They push fast fashion, the newest gadgets, and impulsive luxury travel. But in Japan, society recognizes a profound financial reality. The vast majority of the nation's private wealth sits in the hands of people over the age of 60. They built this wealth by practicing Chokin. This is the lifelong habit of saving money before spending it. Repeated over decades of economic booms, older generations in Japan do not waste their money on frivolous things. They are deeply calculated consumers who demand the highest quality. They are more than willing to spend heavily on advanced healthcare, safe travel experiences, premium organic food, and accessible home renovations. This massive pool of intentional spending is exactly what breathes life into countless new industries. It creates jobs for the younger generation. The elderly are not an economic burden. They are the ultimate VIP consumers of a mature economy. But that solid purchasing power would mean nothing if they allowed themselves to fall behind the times. And that brings us to the third principle: the absolute refusal to let the mind freeze. Principle 3: Kaizen in aging and evolution over decline. The next concept is Kaizen. Applied directly to getting older, the Japanese economy is reaping the rewards of this spirit of relentless, continuous improvement, even as the body ages. Modern consumer culture usually treats the elderly as a group completely left behind by technology. But look at Japan. Tech companies are actively designing mobility robots, smart homes, and wearable medical devices specifically for older adults. And the elderly themselves use Kaizen to adapt. They actively learn how to use new technology. They work hard to maintain their physical fitness. And instead of demanding that their children sacrifice their careers to become caregivers, they use their own personal wealth to buy professional services. They have successfully transformed the heavy cost of aging into a highly profitable service ecosystem for the entire society. At this point, if you take a step back and look at the big picture, you will see that these three principles do not operate alone. Ikigai gives them a reason to keep contributing and removes the crushing pressure to hoard extreme amounts of cash. Chokin transforms them into the absolute foundation of sustainable consumer spending. And Kaizen allows them to constantly adapt, turning old age into a beautiful stage of evolution rather than a dark waiting room for the end. These individual concepts weave together to form a complete reality. In this system, an older person is not a broken machine being shoved into a dusty storage closet. They are a financial operating system that has been perfectly tuned over time. They carry abundant capital, they hold deep experience, and they maintain a steady rhythm of spending that actively protects the entire economy from devastating market crashes. We spend far too much of our youth living in absolute fear of growing old. We completely exhaust ourselves in the present moment, driven by the terrifying thought that one day we will lose our ability to make money. But true financial freedom does not come from hitting a cold, lifeless number on a retirement calculator. It comes from realizing that your worth, your ability to contribute, and the wisdom in how you handle money will not vanish when you turn 60. The ultimate form of quiet wealth is having a meaningful purpose that guides you throughout your entire life. If this new perspective helped lift a bit of that money pressure off your shoulders, please subscribe to the channel. And I am genuinely curious about one thing. If money was not an issue at all, what kind of work would you still choose to do even after retirement age? Tell me your thoughts in the comments below.